We're hedge cutting today on pots and trowels, and that's brought to you with the support of Cobra Garden and King Seeds. Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels. Well, as you probably gathered today, I'm going to be doing just a little bit of hedge cutting. I'm going to just give this hedge behind us a bit of a tidy up before the growing season starts. And you can do this more or less with any deciduous hedge that you've got. This one is a Symphoricarpus, known as the snowberry, not often used as a hedge, but it's been planted here many years ago and it's made a good thick hedge with lots of bird activity through the season. But you could also trim things like hawthorn, beech, hornbeam. Any of the deciduous hedges can be tidied up if you didn't do them in the autumn, that is, of course. And the reason I want to do it now is because we're coming up towards the middle of February, and I like to think that all the hedges are trimmed by the end of this month, ready for the birds' nesting season, which usually starts from March and carries on right the way through into the summer. So we don't want to be disturbing the birds. This one gets a lot of bird activity. I don't think we actually get any nest in this one because it does blow around quite a bit, but it's still a good hedge for habitat for them. So what I want to do is basically just do a little bit of trimming just to square it up, so that then we can do it again later on in the summer. Now, various ways you can do it. Of course, you can do it by good old-fashioned shears if you want to, but I'm going to use a hedge cutter, and I've got a couple. I'm going to use the battery one, but if it was a thorn hedge or something with thick stems, then I would probably use a petrol one like this. This is a Cobra 2-stroke one, and this one is really good. You can cut quite thick stems with this one, so if you've got a tough woody hedge, then certainly this is one that I would use. But on this hedge, I'm not going to use that today. What I am going to use is this one, and this is a battery hedge cutter. These are really, really good. They've come on in leaps and bounds. So we've just got there the 24-volt battery that goes in. It's all charged up, and you can still cut reasonably thick stems with this one, and they last for quite a while. I've used this one for a good sort of 40 minutes before the battery goes, so you can cut a lot of hedge with that. So it's a light trim. I'm going to put some goggles on just because bits tend to fly around from it. And it literally, what I'm doing is just going to side it up a little bit just to take any bits that are sticking off, like this piece here that's blown out. And if I trim it off, it will send out some new branches and help to thicken up the hedge a bit more. And we've got these little bits out the side and then along the top there where we've got these spindly bits. So it just looks a little neater and tidy. Now, we've already got a shape and a level on this hedge, so that's quite easy to follow. But if it's a hedge that you're trying to get some shape to, one way you can do it initially or for the first couple of cuts is to get some tall bamboo canes, push them in at various intervals along and just run a tight string line across to the height you want, and that gives you a guide to cut to. Obviously make sure you don't cut through the string line. So let's just give this a go. So switch her on. And away we go. So I always do the sides first, and then we can get a little bit closer into it, and then we can do the top. The aim is to start at the bottom and do it in sweeping actions rather than in and out like this. If you do it in sweeping actions, you'll get a nice flat plane as well. Right, so that's now basically done the side down there. It's a bit wavy and it's just the nature of this type of hedge. But a little tip when you're cutting any hedge is don't always go for vertical sides like that, because what can happen in time is with the weight at the top they can splay out and that weakens the hedge. So ideally you want the sides of a hedge to just angle in a little bit like that. And as you can see here, you know, vertical would be like this, but it's just going in. So the top of the hedge is always going to be narrower than the base of the hedge, and then that gives a much stronger hedge that will survive the wind and won't blow around as much. So once you're happy with the sides, then all I want to do is take the top off, and we can see pretty much where it's been cut in the past. This was cut late summer, early autumn, so it's not made a lot of new growth. So I'm just going to trim it down to that level by eye. But like I said, you could put some string lines in if you wanted to, but this is quite an informal hedge, and I've got a line to cut to. So we're just going to take the top off, and that should smartly top. Of course, there's the other side to do. And of course, then what we need to do is just to give it a bit of a clean up, rake up all the debris. There's not too much. And I've noticed down here, growing amongst the ivy, which I really like growing in the base there, because it also gives more habitat for wildlife. But there's just a few little snowdrops there, just tiny little snowdrops, not many. So I think what I will probably do later on in spring is buy some snowdrops in the green, and we'll plant some along here. So over the years we can build up a lovely cover of snowdrops to make it look attractive in late winter, early spring. So if you've got a hedge that needs a trim, do it now before the birds start to nest. Well, thank you for watching Pots and Trowels, and don't forget you can watch all the videos we've done on YouTube, and we've also got our podcast which you can get from your normal provider. Next week we're going to be sowing peppers and aubergines, so we'll see you then. Bye.